50th District for 5 minutes for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do want to thank you for having this hearing. It's been something I've looked forward to for a long time. Here's our challenge. The North American Electric Reliability Corporation, or NERC, has said that an additional 35 gigawatts of interregional transfer capability across the country would reduce grid congestion, lower costs for consumers, and generally enable us to better meet load growth. At a recent study showed that transmission connections among U.S. regions would have saved in 2022 between $5.8 and $7.1 billion. That's when natural gas prices were a little higher. In 2023, between $3.4 and $5 billion in 2023. The issue we have is that we have a national interest in interregional transmission. A lot of the discussion has been about in-state or very localized transmission. But we up here in Congress, we have to figure out a way to recognize these savings and build out interregional transmission, at least to the extent of 35 gigawatts. And I'd ask unanimous consent that we can admit to the record a utility drive right up of this study that says more interregional transmission could save consumers billions.
Without objection, so ordered.
Mr. Skelly, there's a process in theory that's outlined in law that we do these national corridors of interest where the government decides where to site power lines, where the government decides what's needed. You're actually doing something called merchant building, where you look at the market and you try to, as a business matter, connect one place to another, where you decide as a business person what the need is. When you do a multi-state transmission line, can you tell us what permits you need and what agencies you need to work with and how those challenges contribute to the willingness of companies to invest in transmission?
Yes. So let me just reference back first to the study that you mentioned. So what you said is with this investment, you get huge savings. That's generally our experience, is that we're able to show that if you connect two spots on the grid that are not connected otherwise, that this produces big savings, and that's why we're able to attract utilities that want to invest in the projects, because that produces savings for their customers. So I completely agree with many of the findings of the study. So what we do is we work through the process. So we get out and we talk to landowners. We work to find a route that works for them. We heard mention of the front of the pasture, the back of the pasture. That's the kind of stuff we're doing all day, every day. Then we work with counties to get county approvals. Sometimes there's township approvals as well. Then we'll go through a state siting process where you go to the state commission and you propose the project, and they look at your routing and how you came up with that particular route.
What are the federal obstacles to what you
and then at the federal level, we would have on a given project probably a dozen different federal agencies that would have a say on the project and whether or not the impacts of the project are too much or really properly considered.
Right.
And then they come up with a record of decision. So we're in the middle of those processes.
And then we would be helpful to you if the federal government had standards by which we judged who pays for the benefit, right?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Gramlich, what is the big number one barrier to connecting new energy resources to the grid?
It's really transmission capacity. There's been a lot of work on the process, and further work I think would be helpful on the process of generator interconnection. But really what we find, especially if you look at when, say, an RTO actually plans transmission and the lines get approved in the plans, automatically the generator interconnection quickly becomes faster and cheaper because those lines are assumed and you don't have individual generators having to pay for a regional network that benefits everybody across, a dozen or more states.
Mr. Reichert, I just want to compliment you on your testimony. I thought it was very well written and very impressive. There's nothing about a federal process that was trying to do interregional transmission that might say, as you suggested in your testimony, interregional is appropriate in other places, but maybe Georgia's good on its own, right?
No, sir. I would respectfully disagree with my fellow witnesses here. We are highly incentivized to look at any solution that is for the benefit of our customers.
I'm just saying, if we had a federal process that tried to decide where to put interregional transmission, a federal process that took the evidence you gave us in your testimony might say, okay, maybe Georgia doesn't need interregional transmission, right?
If it is a line from California or a string on a kite, if it's a good deal for our customers, we will evaluate it.
Okay, I'm just saying you're not going to be forced to do anything if the numbers don't show it, right?
Our concern about prescribed outcomes is it will lead to costly solutions for our customers. And we think our integrated resource plan results in the best cost solution for our
I
customers.
hope you'll accept my question as a statement then, because you didn't really acknowledge it. But I think there's nothing about a federal system of planning that would require you to do anything. And I would just say, I hope we can solve this, because it's part of a bigger plan to get a lot of the other things that you need, including NEPA reform and pipeline reform. Let's see if we can't come up with a solution other than leave it the way it is. I yield back.
Thank you. The gentleman's time has expired.